Welcome back on this Wednesday as we continue to look at Amos, starting with the 6th chapter, the first verse today. As we go through the first 7, remember that these are judgments against the nation of Israel, the northern kingdom, the one also called Samaria. Let's continue, starting with verse 1. Woe to those who are at ease in Zion, and to those who feel secure on the mountains of Samaria, the notable men of the first of the nation, to whom the house of Israel comes. As we look at this, we see that they're speaking against those who are at ease in Zion, in Samaria, and also in Judah. The notable men, the leaders of the nations, those who the people trust in. Woe to those who trust in the security of their nations, whether their armies, their walls, whatever that might be. Let's continue on with verse 2. Pass over to Kelna and see, and from there go to Hamath the Great, and then down to Gath of the Philistines. Are you better than these kingdoms? Or is their territory greater than your territory? O you who put far away the day of disaster, and who brings near the seat of violence. Those places in verse 3, Kelna is to the north. It would have been one of the first places attacked. It's not even in Israel or the nation above them, Aram. It is even farther out of the outskirts of that, as the Assyrians would have come down from the north. They would have, one of the first nations would have been Kelna. And one of the other cities then would be Hamath the Great. Again, two nations that stood between them and the Assyrians, that the Assyrians had already conquered, spelling doom for them. But yet they trust in their armies. They trust in that physical strength. Let's continue with verse 4. Woe to those who lie on beds of ivory and stretch themselves out on their couches and eat lambs from the flock and calves from the midst of the stall, who sing idle songs to the sound of the harp, and like David invent for themselves instruments of music, who drink wine in bowls and anoint themselves with fine oils, but are not grieved over the ruin of Joseph. Therefore, they shall now be the first of those who go into exile, and the revelry of those who stretch themselves out shall pass away. All right, as we look at these verses, they are really trusting in their possessions, or maybe it's not that they're trusting in their possessions, that they're not worrying at all about what God has in store for them. They are resting in their luxury, in their contentment over what they have. The first one, lying on beds of ivory, stretching themselves on the couches, shows that their homes are well furnished, that they have luxuries. It focuses then on the food, eating lambs from the flock, not just the wheat, not just the grains, but the animals. Again, shows their wealth that they had. And time to entertain themselves with songs on the harp and these new musical instruments. The excess of drinking wine in bowls, not in cups, but in bowls because there's so much. Anointing themselves with the finest oils. Again, focusing on the excesses. But they are not grieved over the ruin of Joseph. That the things that have happened to Joseph because of these excesses. Therefore, they will be the first to go down into exile. The rich, those who are trusting in their luxury, are not worrying about the things to come because of their lack of worry and their care only for the day. They will be the ones punished. Now, as I look at this passage in Amos, I know it was written for the people then, but I think there's a warning for us today as well, that we aren't to trust. We aren't to simply be complacent in the wonderful things that we have. As I look at this, isn't that amazing? That's what we have. We have homes that are amazing. more than enough food to eat, this entertainment that is at our fingertips. I don't know what I do without Spotify, right? All of the excesses that we have. And we're not concerned about the decline of the morality of our people, the decline of Christ and his church. Don't think it can't happen to us. That the destruction that came upon the nation of Israel, while it might not be in the same way, that we are not exempt from it. This is a call not just for the people of Israel, but for us to return to the Lord as we continue during the season of Lent, during this Holy Week. A great reminder for us to return to the Lord our God. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.